acrylic airbrush paint thinners, and airbrush cleaners. My favorite home brews coming up. Hi all, welcome to the Grumpy Old Scale Modeler. My name's Darren, and on this channel you're going to find future inbox kit reviews, tools, tool reviews, tips and techniques, much like the one we'll discuss today. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, glad to have you back. If you are new, please consider subscribing. And like always, if you are subscribed, please go ahead and make sure you click the bell so that you're alerted of any new content that we upload in the future. Today we're going to be discussing acrylic thinner and airbrush cleaner home brews. Now there are a lot of different recipes on the internet. There's a lot of different YouTube videos covering this subject. I'm only going to discuss the one that I found that works best for me. If you have one that works best for you, or you've got an ingredient that you use that you don't see me cover here, please go ahead and leave a comment below. Let me know what that ingredient is, or better yet, what recipe, or maybe a link to the video that you've seen that works better for you. Always like to know, and we can share that with the rest of the viewers. So some of the acrylic paints that I'm using now, and as you probably saw in my F16 build, there is no name brand thinner, okay, to be used with it. And I'll be doing a review later on of these paints in a future build. Haven't quite decided yet what that build's going to be, but I'll certainly let everybody know once that happens. I have found that this particular recipe works very well with a lot of different name brand acrylic paints. And the cleaner itself really works well. As a matter of fact, anytime I use an enamel paint, once I clean out with an enamel thinner, I always go back and clean it out with my homebrew airbrush cleaner. Just seems to work really well. So in my black basing video that you saw, which I'll leave a link to, a lot of people saw my squeeze bottles that I had up on front, and this one here is actually the cleaner, and this one here is my my paint thinner itself. So they asked me what those were, and of course, like I said, it's cleaner and thinner. But so those questions prompted me to go ahead and make this video and show y'all how I mix this up and the ratios and what it is I use, the components, so on and so forth. Okay, so let's briefly discuss the ingredients we'll use for our home brew. The first one we'll discuss will be the cleaner. Now you're going to notice that there are a lot of similarities between the cleaner and the thinner, except for one major difference, and that is the ingredient in the cleaner called Windex. Windex, I use the stuff with ammonia D in it. Now there's a lot of internet chatter out there. There's a lot of rumor about you don't want to use the ammonia. It'll do several things. One, it will eat the chrome finish off of your airbrush, and that is true to a certain extent. I have noticed that in some of the cheaper made airbrushes that it has, if you let it sit in there for a long period of time, will take the chrome finish off. The second issue is people say that the ammonia will eat up your O-rings and seals within the airbrush. Folks, I don't know that that's true. I'm not an airbrush expert, but what I will say is O-rings today are made to withstand all the solvents that you're going to put through there, and I think that using an enamel thinner, you're probably putting stuff in there that's a little bit more harsh than ammonia. I have yet to have any problems with ammonia eating up the seals within my airbrush. So the second ingredient we're going to use in our cleaner is going to be isopropyl alcohol. And I use the 91% isopropyl alcohol. It just seems to work better. Stuff in it, stuff that you could get right from the local pharmacy. The second ingredient we're going to use is glycerin. Glycerin can be found in any grocery store. I found it at Harris Teeter in the pharmacy area. This stuff is going to act as a flow aid, just kind of to help lubricate the inside of the airbrush. On the cleaner, it really isn't as important as it would be in the thinners, and we'll talk about that in just a few moments. The fourth thing we're going to use is distilled water. Now, distilled water, I get it by the bottle. I guess you could use filtered water if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend tap water for sure. There's just too many impurities in there. Maybe if you're going to use it for the cleaner, okay, but I certainly wouldn't use it in my thinners. There's no telling what kind of junk you might get within your paint. It's cheap. I think I paid $1.89 for this gallon at the grocery store, and it's lasted me a long time. It's just well worth it to go ahead and get the stuff that's pure distilled water. And then the second thing, or the last thing we're going to need is a container or a vessel to hold this stuff in. I get these squeeze bottles off of Amazon. I'll leave the link below so that you can go there and find. As a matter of fact, you can find all these ingredients in Amazon, and I'll go ahead and link those down there. But I get these bottles. They're fairly inexpensive, and you can use them over and over and over again. I actually have 4 of them now, so I'll just keep a batch off to the side. So now that we've gone through the cleaner, the thinner is going to be the same. The ratios might be just a little bit different, but we're not going to use the Windex. Obviously, we don't want to put the ammonia D in with a thinner because that stuff is going to eat your paint. That is what really helps the cleaning side of things. So with these ingredients now, what we're going to do is we're going to break. I'm going to set up the overhead. We'll come back, and we're going to go start mix this stuff up in the ratios from the brew that I've got. So stand by and we'll be right back with you. So just a couple of quick safety things. One is, this is not drinking alcohol we're using. I know that I shouldn't have to say that, but I am going to put that out. I feel that it's my responsibility to do that. Don't drink it. 2, we are using ammonia in the Windex. Not typically an issue in the amount that we're using, but take into consideration that spraying it, it's being atomized, and it might not be the healthiest thing to breathe that in. So if you're not using a spray booth, at the very least, I would recommend using some sort of dust mask to keep from inhaling those ammonia particles. So that being said, let's go on and get into mixing up our stuff. So the first thing we'll do is we'll mix up our cleaner. And what I've done is I've pre-marked the back of this. It just makes it easier because I know just by looking now that I'm going to throw in here this is my 100 milliliters of Windex. Now, this is a 250 milliliter bottle, and I've broken it up here. There's 25, 50, 75, 100 milliliters of Windex. And then I'm going to throw in there my 150 milliliters of distilled water. That's going to take us to the 250 milliliter mark. I'm going to top it off the rest of the way here to the top of the bottle in this notch, and that's going to be our alcohol. And then I'll throw in there about 10 drops of glycerin, give it a good shake, and that'll be done. So we'll take our new bottle here, and let's see if I can grab me a marker here. I got my red one, and just so that we already know, we're going to go ahead and mark that. We said 100, or I'm sorry, 75 of Windex, our water here to the top of the bottle, and then 10 drops of glycerin. I have a funnel here that I use. This just helps make things a little bit easier, a little bit cleaner. And let's go ahead and get this started here. I'll take this out here. I'm going to go ahead and grab my Windex, and I get the big jug as you saw earlier. This jug has lasted me quite some time. And what I'm going to do to make this easier, I'm just going to go ahead and fill this up into a measuring cup. Not going to need near that much, but hey, there it is. We'll go ahead and go back to our bottle here. Put our funnel in and go ahead and just pour it into the, let me get here so y'all can see. And we'll go ahead and fill that up to our 100 or 75 milliliter spot there. And we won't take the bubbles into account. There you go. Easy enough. Next, we're going to go ahead and take our distilled water. And once again, we'll go ahead and take that up to the next 250. Again, bubbles, that's going to happen. Next will be our 91% alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. And fill that to the neck. There we go, the bubbles are going away now. And set that off to the side. We can get rid of that for now. And now we'll go ahead and throw in our glycerin here. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and do probably about, I don't know, 10 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, put my thumb over that just to kind of seal it up. Give it a little shake, give everything mixed up. There you go, my friends. One home brew cleaner. I'll throw my grumpy sticker on there, and it's my own. Okay, so that was the cleaner. Let's talk a little bit about the thinner. As I stated before, there is no Windex in this one, so the first thing you'll notice is it's not blue. This one here is a little bit easier to mix, and again, I've marked it out already. But basically what we're going to use here is, it's mostly water. We're going to use 175 milliliters, which falls just short here, right about here. And then we're going to use 75 milliliters of alcohol, and then 10 to 15 drops of our glycerin. Okay, our cleaner. Here again, what do we need? We need our bottle. So we're going to go ahead and mark this one just like we did here at about 175. So 250 milliliter bottle, as I said before, and we're going to go, here's 150 and there's 175. Okay, we'll take it to there. Of course, then you got 25, 50, 75. This is going to take us up here. And really with the alcohol, I'm probably just going to go ahead and take it up to the top. It's not an exact science. We'll just go ahead and top it off and put in our glycerin. So off with the top here. That tube is popped loose. And we'll get our trusty funnel out here, which I've cleaned. I took the funnel here and I completely washed all the ammonia out, because like I said before, I really don't want ammonia getting into my paint thinner. And then I'm going to get my distilled water, and we will go ahead and just top that off to our 175. Fill it to the red line. Exciting, I know, pretty uneventful. Okay. Go ahead and get our isopropyl alcohol here. And as stated, we're going to go ahead and give that approximately 75. You know, I'm talking, said 75. Let's just go ahead and stick to that. So we'll go 75 to the 250 mark. Now this will get cloudy, but that clears up. And of course, this is kind of a opaque bottle, so you don't see as much. If this was a clear bottle, you really see it start to get cloudy. So there's our 250 mark. Of our funnel, out with the old, or in with the trusty old glycerin. And on this one, I'm going to go ahead and put in there 15 drops of that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I've seen guys just dump it in there and not even count. I think it's up to the individual. This works, as I said, very well for myself. I'm going to go put my thumb in there and give it a shake. And there we go. Okay, go ahead and put the top on it. And there we have our cleaner. Put a sticker on it and she's done. So now we have our cleaner, our thinner, and we have our cleaner. I've got 2 bottles. I'll say that this thinner and this cleaner here has lasted me well through the entire painting evolution of my F16 here, which is coming along rather swimmingly, about ready to clear coat. And actually a little bit before, because I was working on another project before that, and both of these were full. So it's lasted quite some time. So there you go, folks. That's my home brews, my favorite home brews. I hope that you've gotten something out of that. I hope that you try it. Like I said, I'm going to leave a link to everything that I used in the description below. Please feel free to check those out. If you have any questions for me, put it down in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And as I said earlier, if you have home brews that work best for you, I'd like to see those as well. So please put those down there. Again, I'm going to put a plug in for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please do. There's going to be a lot more content coming. At this point, I'm putting out a video about once every 2 weeks. My goal is to do 1 a week in the future. There's some paint reviews coming up. I do have a kit review coming up. I don't want to give those spoilers away, but I'll be starting on those here within the next week. So as always, y'all take care. Let's all be good to each other. And until next time, we'll see ya.